Hey, you guys, what's going on? Today we're going to be messing around with the Windows Terminal. I tried to get it in Windows 11. I've been having some issues getting Windows 11 working on my computer. So we're going to mess around with getting the Windows Terminal looking nice in Windows 10. And just a small note, this is my artwork in the background. I took my artwork and put it into GPT and got it to expand it. But yeah, I hope you guys like that. I thought it turned out pretty cool. Um, Anyways, now this is what we're going to be working on today. We're going to try to get it to look something similar to this. I can't guarantee exactly, but get the GIF background. This is another one of those backgrounds created by AI, but with my logo and everything. I haven't really messed around a lot with the looks of terminals. I don't mind it looking black screen. It doesn't matter to me that much. But I thought I'd try my hand at making it look kind of nice in Windows, since I'm having to use Windows for my game development stuff anyways. So I know everybody's probably like, hey, go to Linux. But what you have to do is go to Linux. But I had to do game development with trying to mess with some web development and all that. And for that, the best combination I found is Windows with, WSL. So we're going to have to first get Windows Terminal going on Windows 10 setup. So on Windows 11, I set it up on my other computer, and it was already there. On Windows 10, not there. So I have to get up to start the install, search for it, start the install. All right, so there we go. We have our Windows PowerShell, Windows Terminal. Here we can switch our shells, but we don't have Ubuntu. We don't have WSL. I'm actually going to set it up in WSL first, and then we'll do it in PowerShell. Let's first set up our WSL, and to do that, we'll do the command. Easy. You have to give permission. Okay, so now I have to reboot. We're going to go ahead and reboot this and come back. All right, so we're back in here. Let's open the terminal and also pin it here. Okay. Now that we have this, we should be able to just go here, go to Ubuntu. But, of course, that doesn't work. On Windows 11, when you do that command, it loads up, but it asks you which version do you want. Do you want like Arch Linux? Do you want Ubuntu? In this, it didn't. In this, it just defaults to Ubuntu. But then you should be able to switch here, and it should work, but it doesn't. Let me fix that, and we'll come back. Okay. All right, so I didn't want to leave people without some type of solution if they did run into this problem. One of the things you have to check is to make sure that your BIOS has virtualization enabled. The way you do that is go to Task Manager, go to Performance, and you can see right here virtualization. Mine is disabled. I'm going to have to fix that. So I'm going to have to reset my computer, go into my BIOS, and turn on the virtualization. You're going to have to check on your own how to enable your virtualization in your BIOS based on your motherboard. Okay? So that's my problem. Now, another person might have a problem where this is enabled, but for their Windows, the Windows features, to turn on the Windows features for Windows subsystem for Linux and virtual machine platform, those both have to be turned on as well. So the way you could do that is to here just search up, turn Windows features on or off, and then go over there and search for the Windows subsystem for Linux, turn that on, and search for virtual machine platform, turn that on. I'm going to go into my BIOS, fix that, come back, and we'll see if that solves this problem, because mine are enabled. I made sure. So hopefully, for me, this will be the solution. All right, you guys, I'll be right back. All right, good. So I came back in, I turned that on the BIOS. If anybody's ever stuck on the BIOS screen and like you just can't get into the BIOS settings, you have to unplug your second monitor and all your peripheral stuff. So you can only basically have one monitor plugged in, preferably DisplayPort. If not DisplayPort, then HDMI, and then have your mouse and your keyboard plugged in, wired. And then you should be able to get into the BIOS and then turn your SVM. For me, it was SVM something. Turn your whatever it is for your setting to turn your virtualization on. I rebooted, came back in, opened my terminal. In your terminal, you can click this little arrow, and here's all your list. I clicked Ubuntu. This opened this up, and here we go. It did the install. It took a few minutes, like it said, and yeah. So I got this pop-up, and it's telling me to enter my username and everything. So that's great. And yeah, maybe we'll mess with some of this stuff in the future, but for right now, none of this matters to us. I'm going to go ahead and enter in my username. It asks for username, password, then a confirmed password from what I remember, and then we'll come back here and we'll move on. Beautiful. So put in the username, put in the passwords, and I'm good to go, basically. Here I am in my WSL setup. Self-base. It really annoys me that I don't have the Ubuntu logo here. I don't know why, but we'll see. We'll try to get all the visuals nice and right. And now we'll be just more messing with the settings of our Windows terminal to begin with, to get just a nice background in and maybe get a nice coloring in, just roughly. And then we'll work on using the library we'll use to get our nice images and everything up, which we're going to use FastFetch, and we have to get I think it's Sixel. From what I remember, I think we're going to have to install some Sixel libraries, because the Windows terminal supports Sixel, but you're not going to have the libraries needed to render the images within the terminal, so you need that. So we'll probably use Chafka and Sixel together somehow, or even just once Sixel is set up. There's a weird way you need to install. We'll get into all that. I don't want to talk through it. I'll show through it. Okay. All right. So I thought it was kind of interesting before we go into just setting this whole thing up to go into what graphics we'll be using, and I want to just give you guys just talk through a little workflow that might be good for you to get these graphics set up as well. One of the good things about Windows Terminal is that we can have moving GIFs as backgrounds. So we can go to AI and take our logo and ask it, hey, give me a cool, like, futuristic kind of Tokyo style city, and put some moving characters in the front and somebody on a computer, and have a cool little image generated. So you can go to GPT, generate an image, right? Give it your thing, get an image generated, take that image, I used Adobe Firefly, and then ask it using the K-Link or something like that, ask it to generate an animated video from your image. That way now you have a MP4 of this animation. Then you take that, throw it into Adobe Photoshop, and make sure that it's looping, and export it into a GIF. I tried Adobe Express for GIF exporting, but it doesn't have a toggle for looping, and it doesn't loop. Basically, that's my workflow. Going from ChatGPT, you get an image that's been generated. Then you go to Adobe Firefly, take that image, turn it into a video, and then Photoshop, convert that video frame by frame, and turn looping on, and then export it as a GIF. And so then you have something like this. You can clearly tell this is AI generated too, because look, all floppy. I don't even know what's going on up here. This guy's fingers, I mean, he's an alien, definitely not human. But I really like the way it turned out, honestly. Like, I love the city vibe. I like the signs changing. I like even this, like, blinking, neon-y. Anyways, I really like this art kind of section, and if you guys are interested, I'll make a video, and if I do make a video or even a short of this workflow, I'll link it in this. Here's another generated by GPT type of thing, which is like funny. One part of the prompt was a tree like hair, like a tree trunk, like root like hair, but anime. And then I have a cat, and so I was like, hey, throw cat in there, and she kind of does look like a cat. So it was kind of, this is one of the cooler images. Here's another one, and I asked it to remove the text for my name because it got it wrong. So it's not perfect. You could tell some things are off, but it looks so cool. Look at the eyes of the cat. I really like the way this turned out. This is another one of my logos. I told it to make it more neon-y. And then this is cool. This is I was just kind of messing around with different like image generation things, and I got something I kind of liked, and then I went to Firefly, and I actually told it, hey, just take more of it, like make it more like a game, make it more like vampiristic, make it more like a little scary, a little dark themed, and make it more like 2-bitty. So it kind of turned out pretty good. And then yeah, my logo and the sign, I really liked how this turned out. And look at the water effects on the ground. Again, a lot of people could do much better using comfy UI and using all those anime diff and all those things that are local image generation. But I only have 6 GB of RAM, and it's easier to just go into Firefly for me. So that was my workflow. You can get a local workflow going as well. Just look into anime diff or like the comfy UI stuff. There's actually setups for low VRAM too, like 6 GB. I could do it if I wanted to. It's just, it's a lot easier to just go this route. So just wanted to go into the artwork a little bit, and now we can move on from here. You could see the size of the artwork right there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now that we have everything basically that we need, we went into the artwork and everything, we can start actually messing with our setup here, okay, visually. So let's go into our settings. For this one, I'm going to change the name of this. So Ubuntu, I'm going to name it Z Ubuntu, mainly because I usually like build 2 or 3 profiles of this, so it's easier to keep track for me. All right, so our startup won't be PowerShell. It's going to be Ubuntu. So all this looks fine. We'll go into appearance. These are the global settings, and then these are for individual profiles. And then these are the defaults as well for individual profiles. So we're probably gonna mess with this more. I just want to look at these real quick. But let's get to the meat of this. All right. So we're gonna go into our Ubuntu, and most of our stuff to begin with will be messing with just this specific one. Okay, so we'll go into appearance, and first thing we do is get rid of the background. The background is what for me is the kind of the thing that sets the tone for the visuals and everything. And of course, if you were doing it vice versa, you might want to pick a color scheme, then pick a background. I like this. Where's that background image one? Here it is. We'll go ahead and browse. We'll go to brand art, and we'll pick the Z banner animated. Okay. So I picked my GIF. You guys can generate a GIF, get a GIF online. This is your personal thing. You guys do what you want to do, and please customize it accordingly. I probably won't make my GIF available, and I know a lot of people hate that stuff, but it's very easy to find a GIF to put on here. With that, we'll save and apply, and we'll take a look at how it looks. But we're already starting to, that really quickly gets us to a rough feel of what we want. And look how cool it looks, just, as is. I mean, it really looks I really like the animated background of things. So, but the transparency, I like to turn it down to like a low, and then I like to turn this transparency down as well. So we'll go to like maybe like a 56, and then maybe like a 35. Okay, save that. So this really allows you, it makes it look like it's in the background. And with the with the acrylic that we enabled, you really get this nice kind of like background shine through. Like you could see it kind of something is there, but it's not intrusive, it's not annoying. So I really like the kind of look of that. So go with that. Next, we need to now fix our kind of color scheme. Even though currently it's not like we see a lot, so what's the point of getting like a really good color scheme? But I like to have my own color scheme. But for right now, we will build off of the Ubuntu color scheme. But for right now, we're going to go to dark plus. Okay. Oh, we're actually going to build off the dark plus. For this one, we're going to build off the dark plus. So might as well switch to it. And so already it's a little bit more visible, everything. So I like that background, but one of the things, and off the bat, I guess we will actually just customize it. We'll go to color schemes. We'll go ahead and make a duplicate of this because I hate the foreground. That hurts. The white is just not it. So make a copy. Here's our copy of it. I wish I could name it something better. Here we go. Z1. So this is going to be the first one we do. We'll probably make another one, but here, so this will be the first one, and I hope that changed the name. Anyways, save that. There we go. Then I will change the foreground to. All right, don't judge me. I know you guys are gonna judge me on my colors. Don't judge me on my colors. Leave my colors alone, please. Okay? So we'll go with something like right here. And I'm gonna change this later, but for right now, it's just I can't do the white. I don't like it. I can't do it. I don't want to mess with it too much. So let's just switch this. So the blue, I don't like the blue. So we'll go to color scheme. So I don't like the blue. I don't like the green. The green should be like a straight green and brighter. And the light green, let me put it down here somewhere. The green is too dark. And then the blue, I don't like the way it looks. I don't remember what I did with it. Yeah, just making sure what green is on there. I really don't like that green. So yeah, most of this is me just playing with colors. That's what you guys signed up for. That's what you guys are gonna get to see. I'm just saying. But just pick whatever colors you want, whatever themes you want. Just make it go with everything. Okay. So at least for now, that's okay for me, except this one, which to me should be a little darker. At least for now, just to get rough visuals. And then we will start working on getting our fonts installed. So to get the fonts, we go to Nerd Font. Let me get that up. Alright, so for your fonts, you're gonna wanna go to nerdfonts.com. This is where everybody goes, mainly because they handle all these icons and everything all in one place. Okay? So they do before you'd have to get stuff from Font Awesome, from Dev Icons, this and that. I've only ever used Font Awesome, so this place has everything, and it's a very neat bundle. So it's pretty nice. So we can go to downloads, and I'll tell you some of the popular ones people use. I've seen people use like Fira Code. Here's Fira Code right here. I've seen people use this Hack Nerd. I've seen people use somebody. This is like a thinner font. So some people really like this. Roboto, a lot of people like just classic stuff, you know. This looks cool. I've never tried it, but and then the Ubuntu Nerd font. This is just I think Ubuntu, and you just have the extra icons and everything. So if you guys want to just go with that, you can. I personally really like the JetBrains, so I'm gonna stick to my JetBrains Nerd font. We'll go ahead and download that, and so I'm gonna show you guys how to get these fonts installed. So I have it downloaded, it's in my downloads folder, but I'm gonna move it to my documents folder, and then we'll go from there. Okay, here, now that we have the font, we have the zip file, we just open up the zip file, do extract all. I'm just gonna extract it here because we're going to basically install it into our Windows and delete all these files. Okay, so now we have the unzip thing. You click there, you scroll down, you click down to this. You don't need the OFL or the README, and then you click install. So that once that's installed, and I think that did install. I don't even see the window. Yeah, I don't even see the window anywhere. But what I'll do is I'll go to my documents and I'll just delete these two. But you know, I would have deleted them, but right now I just want to make sure I have the font before I do. So maybe you guys should do the same. Anyways, all right, we go to settings now. We go back to our Ubuntu, and then we go to appearance. We go down to our fonts, and it's not there. So maybe I just have to restart it. For what I remember, this was real easy. And now from here, we go to this, we go to this, we go to this. And now this, and yes, sorry, the restart gave it to us. All of our fonts for at least the JetBrains stuff is right here, right? And then I'll go with JetBrains Mono Nerd font, and I'll just go with the normal that I go with, Nerd font. So now we have our font set up, we have our background set up, right? We just have a clean setup. we set up some of our color schemes. Now we can move on to starting the FastFetch, right? And once our FastFetch is up, then we can really work on tweaking the color scheme, because then we'll have text to actually see. And we can start working on our image display for the Sixel display picture. Yeah, then we should be good to go. Maybe we'll even go further and add like some cool, change the name here, add some cool things. But for right now, we're in a good spot to just move on to get our FastFetch set up. To do that, we're going to create a directory. All right, so we have our directory, and what we do have to do is do a copy command. So what we do is cp, and then we're going to copy a whole directory. So we do -r for recursive, and then we're going to, for Windows, you go to your mount, and then your drive, so -c, and then users, and then your username, and then I have it in pictures, wherever your path is to your images or your image folder. If it's just a singular image, you do cp and the image name to wherever it goes. But since we're going to do a whole directory, which is brand art, we're going to do that, and we will move that to our newly made folder, pictures. So pictures, brand art. Okay, so now that that's done, there we go. And here, if you just want to copy, like you don't want to copy and create a new directory in here, you do this. That just copies the contents of that directory. But this makes a new directory too called brand art in pictures. So there we go. And then brand art has all these images, but right now we can't display them because we don't have image to Sixel, I believe, or whatever it is. So we have to now we work on actually installing our 6.0. So to start off with, to get the image magic getting going, we'll do a normal sudo apt update, and then we want to do here. Config magic. All right. This should be the stuff that we need. So I actually did all this and again messed up. So I had to delete that stuff, redo it again. So that's the second time that's happened. Fun doing these. Alright, so magic is installed. Convert is working. Alright. Convert is from the Magic 6. Anyways, and so we have the convert command working. Now our magic side is set up. We now install FastFetch, and then you enable the magic setup. And so we will do, I will just copy and paste this because this one's actually pretty long. All right, so go ahead and copy this. You can pause and copy it. Let me curl that. Okay, the next command will be the unzipping. Okay, when we do ls, we should see fastfetch -dev. Okay, we see our tar and then the fastfetch.dev. And now we can do a cd fastfetch.dev, and we could do a cmake -s -e build that thing -dc image magic 6 equals on dash off. All right, so builds have been written. Right. Okay. Now we see which fast fetch. Okay, so we have fast fetch now. Now we will try to get it to read one of our pictures, but I want to change the config. So now that we have fast fetch, at least at least we have something going. Now we'll work on the config real quick to not have like too much information displayed, just basic information, and then we will test to make sure our images are properly working. All right, so with a clear command, we're back, and we went out of our FastFetch folder, and we came back to our home. So just cd that. All right, when we do ls, we need to remove these old files, right? So rm -rf fastfetch dev and fastfetch dev.tar. Okay, so we're still good. And fastfetch -- version still gives us the version, so still stop. Okay? And now we need to change our config files, right? And for our config file, what we do is we make dir dash t, and we do this slash dot config dash FastFetch. This will create a dot config directory, so a hidden directory called config, and then within that it'll create FastFetch, and we will put our config file within that. So we do that, we do ls minus la, and we see our dot config right there. Okay. And now we will go ahead and do nano slash dot config slash fastfetch slash config dot jsonc. Dot. Okay. Now I'll just copy and paste a very simple right here. And just one thing I want to add to it is hopefully I could do it without messing everything up, because I need to learn Vim better, and I'm not like this is nano, like I need to learn Vim. So this should be how to add color right there, and then we'll do Control S, Control X to exit, and now we have our config set up. But so by default, FastFetch should have our config file to this, but I like to just make sure and set it. And to do that, we do FastFetch config, and then the path to the config, config.json. Okay, so this by itself won't set it to always use this config. We can set up an alias to do it, but I want to see if it does just, by default catch it. So let me just test that. All right. If you're in a situation where your config file isn't in the default spot, you can set up an alias, right, with the command I showed you earlier, which was this one, and just set alias fastfetch equals this command. But since we put it in the spot that we did, that's where FastFetch looks by default. So we could do just FastFetch, and there we see, right? Very simple. But one thing I noticed is my color isn't there, which I probably did something wrong with the way that I had that called. But I wonder why. So let me just look at that. I should actually just CD into this real quick. I think it's colors. Okay, Control S, Control X, and now we should do the FastFetch command. There we go. There's the colors. Okay. Now that we have kind of like a basic setup going, we got our config file set up. We can now move on to making sure that FastFetch can actually display our image inline, because that was a big issue for me doing it on Windows 11. It just doesn't display it, and you'll just keep seeing the default logo, right, without doing these steps that we did here earlier. So now let's hope that it works, because some of this just feels like magic. Anyways, one thing I want to do is in this FastFetch config folder thing, I want to create a dir and call it images, lowercase. Okay, and then I want to copy from our pictures, brand, art, and then yeah, there we go, dp yellow no text. And I want to move that here. So dot slash here in the images. And then there I'll do dp yellow no text.png. All right, so there's our display picture we'll use to test, and we should do here. I'm gonna copy this command. Actually, I'll just type it. Dash type. So dash dash, and then we'll do the dp text dot png show errors. Nice, it did display it. Beautiful. So honestly, this was such a pain to get to this point in Windows 11 because I had FastFetch. I'm going in circles trying to figure it out, but I'm glad this wasn't too bad and we found it. Now we have our image display. However, our stuff looks pretty terrible, and our next step will be to fix our config file and make everything look good. But I'm glad that we have at least images displaying. All right. I've messed with the config files. I want to do that not on camera because, I mean, you guys would be bored as hell just going in circles. And of course, I had to use a little bit of GPT to mess around with the styling. Yeah, I would really suggest just, roughly make what you want and then just pass it along to AI and then make it look nicer. But anyways, we'll go through the config and look at it, of course. I don't want to just be like, hey, this is the config, but here, take a look. And there is a interesting bug in this Windows 10 setup, and we'll have to deal with that. But aha, we're getting there. And to me, it was important to have it to where when I do this, it still stays, because if you go too far, it starts getting all wonky, right? So that was important. Now, interesting note, if you do this again, I guess that time it worked, but sometimes you get that white line weirdly, right? And the only thing I found the easiest way to deal with it is doing this. I didn't have this in Windows 11. I just noticed this now. To be clear, it comes fine. So this actually works fine for us because we just want to see this on the startup. But it's just annoying because it seems like it's one of those Sixel magic, image magic kind of voodoo that happens in the background, and it's hard to debug it and it's hard to figure out why it's happening. But I think maybe going from image magic 6 to image magic 7 might solve it, might change something. I don't know. We'll do that in the future, but for right now, this completely works for what we need. Okay, which is to just make something that I showed at the start when the terminal starts. So in the future, we'll do something like we'll set an alias for this command right here, like FF or something. And we'll put that in our source.bash so that on startup, it clears and it, does this. Huh. Okay, so now that we're in this cool spot, just visually, we'll go into the config file and actually take a look at it. So, but I'm really glad we finally at least got the image working and everything, and it looks somewhat nice. So let's go ahead and go into Nano. And I gotta change that sound. I hate the system sound. So we'll this is just the beginning. We'll go deeper, and most changes I make, anything cool, I'll show you guys. I'll try to do a tutorial. I'll do it like code along, whatever the heck I can. But for right now, let's just get this set up. Okay, so important thing is this part right here. This is for our actual display picture rendering and setting up. So we do logo and we set our type to Sixel. We set our source right here. So This is just a path to your wherever you have your image saved. This is where I have it saved. I would suggest you do the same. Save the image you want in your display picture in your fastfetch.com folder. Okay, so this is your source, and we set it to render through Sixel, right? So this basically does the conversion, and then we have the width and the height. For me, it was important to set the width and the height because one, too big, too long, and from what I remember, there was some issues with the when you go with the raw image, it's harder to get the width and the height automatically of the image. So it's easier just to set your width and your height. But we're not even doing that. We're going through Sixel. But anyway, so I set the width and the height to get it where I want it. And then the padding. So from the top, my image is moved down a little bit, one line. So it's not right on the title. It's one line below by the separator. I have some padding on the left and some padding on the right. I think this is pretty simple stuff. Just place it wherever you want it, but this is kind of the format of how you want your logo side. And again, I would really suggest putting it into like ChatGPT or getting like an AI to just do this part. This is more like well-known stuff, so it should be able to do it. All right, so this is for the coloring. Was telling them title, key, separator, what colors to put, and then here I can put this is supposed to be so that it's linked to my theme palette. So when I change the colors on my theme palette, this should change with it, hopefully. So here we have a custom title. So if you guys copy this file, I'm gonna try to make this file available. If you guys copy this file, you have to change this title from solve base to something else and change this. Here we put for the title to be yellow, so this will display in yellow. Then we have this is just for our breaks. Like these, your guys could just find and copy and paste in here, but these are for our line breaks you saw over there. We manually put them in, and this is for the color of them. So yeah, we have basically our title, the rest of our stuff under that title. So we have our title right here, system, our OS, kernel, shell, term, and then we have our the rest of our stuff, hardware. Here, this is CPU. So this basically displays the line, then it displays the CPU stuff. Which is, it's a good way to just be able to format your stuff however you want it. This is just what I picked. You can copy and paste these special characters in, and because of your font, because of the nerd font that you have set up, which I showed earlier, everything should work pretty nicely. Okay, and then this is stuff that should display the fonts, the colors for our theme. Okay. So yeah, that's the whole config file. It's honestly not that bad at all. You guys could even just copy and paste it, or really customize it yourselves without AI. But it's just nice. They will be able to do it real quick, and you can make it your own. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of that, and I'm gonna do this again just to show. All right, so you guys saw the special characters, the colors on them. These are the colors right here, and this is the yellow on the Zolve base. Should be good. Now we can move on. Now that the config file is done, this is done. One thing I want to make sure is that what I said is true, which is that the colors are actually properly updating. So we go to our color schemes, go to our this, and we just change our yellow to like our red. And then we go and look, it matches our color scheme. So that's always nice, and you can easily change your stuff that way. Now I'm gonna go back to my color scheme. I don't know why it keeps going to light for some reason. But back to my theme, go over here. into my yellow and change it back to the, you know, the nice yellow that I like. All right, yeah, that looks good. Okay, so we can stop here for this, and then can get our nice welcome text and our home text over here that we showed in the or our current directory text right here. Okay, so let's actually first just get the cool like intro title text working, and then we will work on the color scheme a little bit more. First, we need to install toilet and lolcrab. I know, what amazing package names. I was in awe. Right, so to do that, we first do the good old sudo apt update. Perfect. And now we do sudo apt install toilet and lolcrab. Okay, I have to do it through cargo. So you do sudo apt. Install toilet, and then sudo apt install cargo. Cargo is for all the Rust install stuff, which it's good to have. And so cargo install lolcrab. Okay, I'm gonna have to figure out what's going on here. Shouldn't be too hard of a fix. Alright, so I wanted to record myself doing this. We actually have to remove this version because the version that we installed through sudo apt is sudo apt-get is older. We need to actually get the nightly, like the fresh release. I don't even know if it's the nightly, but I just know we need to get the newer version. So let's uninstall what we got. Okay, now we'll install it with curl from the rustup.rs. I'm just going to proceed with standard. Alright, now we'll do source. Cache /env. Then we'll do cargo dash version. Perfect. Now let's try to get the lolcat. Oh, lolcrab, not lolcat. Lolcrab comes from lolcat, like a way better version of it, but whatever. It's different strokes, different folks. Okay. So now we should have everything we need. So to do a test, we can go ahead and put them together and test it to make sure at least something is happening. Baked? I don't know what that is. Hello? Why? Why am I so bad at this? There we go. Probably shows that I really need to fix my colors on this font. Anyways, with this colors on the scheme, but I'm just trying to get all the stuff set up, and then we can really go into the scheme and fix the background color. The issue is the background color is too bright right now. Anyways, and there's not enough transparency on that background. So we have our toilet working. Now we send this to lolcrab color fun. There we go. So we take our toilet text, put it into our lolcrab, and we get some nice coloration. That's exactly what we wanted. Okay, I'll be back with the actual command, and then we can go into our bash and start fixing it now that we have toilet and lolcrab working. All right, so I got the command that I wanted. It's right here, and there we go. This will give us that cool kind of intro title. Spam it, it changes. So, anyways, that's the command. And you can change the welcome Zollfight with whatever you want. And the end said put some space, anyways. Okay, now I can just go into the bashrc and start kind of messing around. But one of the things we need to do, or one of the things we will do, in bashrc, when we do pwd, we can get our current directory, right? So we can take that text and display it through this colorification title thing we get. So the next step is to now configure our bashrc to get our nice startup. Okay, so we'll go into the bashrc next and start actually working on it. Here we can do a clear. Before we do the clear, for right now, we will do an alias, and I want to do ff equals FastFetch. Okay, so this when I type ff should just clear and FastFetch. Okay, and then then I have to do the clear, and now I can do if. Okay. Echo. Now this is where we do the check to see if we're in the home directory. Because if not, then you just get your username twice, and that's kind of, I don't know, that's kind of weird. Because I have welcome Zollfight, and then underneath that I'll have Zollfight as the directory I'm in. So this checks to see if you're in the home, and if it does, it puts like a special label. Cache home. So this gives us our label. After that, print. And that should be good. Source. There we go. Beautiful. So actually this is wrong. This shouldn't say Zoophyte. This should say home. So we'll fix that. I don't know what, but we'll fix that real quick. But overall, you guys can see the general idea. It gets this, and now that we're in here, we can do CD pictures, and then if from CD pictures we do source bash, then we get pictures, which is always nice. I might set up an alias for that too. I might put some spaces here and there. We can mess around with the looks and fix stuff, but we need to fix why when we go to home, it does that. Well, oh, maybe you guys spotted it. Seems like maybe it's going to be a not so difficult fix. And then right here, we can do, instead of this, I think we should do that, right? Right. Yeah, Control S, Control X. Yeah, there we go. Goofy. All right, so that's nice. At least we got this set up, and I don't think it looks that nice in my screen recording, as nice as it looks maybe on here. Maybe there's an issue with it. Maybe it's just my preview. I'll see on the recording. But all right, I think we've achieved everything that we set out to achieve at this point. One thing I'll probably do is just fix my little bit of spacing between this. So I'm just going to add that. And there we go. That's the end of it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed. Oh, no, I'm not done yet. I have to fix my colors. My colors are all off. But alright, well, at least we're done with this part. We'll fix our color scheme right after this. Alright, we're finally ready to fix our color scheme. But one thing I want to do is do another alias real quick. So we'll, whatever. Let's just get our color scheme going. Alright. Okay, once that's there, we can go to settings, and we can go to color schemes, and go to our Z color scheme, and we can start messing around with it. So this gives us a kind of like an insight into how our color scheme is looking right now. But first thing we need to do is background. This is probably all the way. Okay, and then we have to cursor color, something a little bit more visible. And then selection background, I like to do a light pink. It just makes it the selection, I know very quickly what I'm selecting, but it's just a little too bright for my eyes, so I'll go with a little bit lighter. That's good. The cursor is good. Maybe the cursor I'll make a little bit lighter too. Again, this part, it's your own art, but I just like to do my own kind of thing. Some people, I don't know why it does that. When I switch back, it switches to a different theme. And the blues need to be more kicked. And purple needs to be. I think the purple needs to be a little changed. The blue needs to be a little more poppy. So we'll go ahead and blue just doesn't sit right with me. I kind of like that a little bit more. The purple is just not right. Get close to right. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's done. We're good with that, and then just I'll go to this. I'll go to appearance, and one cool thing you can do is turn this retro effect on. It makes everything kind of retro-y and glowy. It's cool. But we'll do that in the next one we set up maybe. Yeah, I think that is it. Oh, and then finally, I just want to go here and I want to just fix the background transparencies a little bit because it is too bright. So I will do that. I just do turn it darker so the background actually shows through. And when you do all the way, it should just be that. What we gotta do actually is turn this a little bit up. And then we can turn this back up to like that. Too much. All right, yeah, that looks good to me. And that makes me happy. People might have a different kind of look on what they like on their terminal. Yeah, that's what I like. I hope you guys enjoyed this. We're going to do one more profile, and that literally would just be because when I do my setups, I usually like to have two profiles of my window because one does the front end, one does the back end, and I can easily see based on my different background image. I'm going to create two profiles, but yeah, this is it for, you can stop right here and you can copy my colors and whatever you want to have exactly what I have, or you could have stopped way earlier and just had your own colors and your own this and just gotten the cool text and just gotten FastFetch going. But I hope you guys were able to get the image working. That was really the most annoying part, and the whole reason I'm doing this is because the FastFetch install with the image magic on Windows was kind of annoying to do, and then with the lolcrab getting the latest cargo also was something that you had to do. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a new profile, an extra profile. We're just going to duplicate our original one that we just worked on. We're going to name it X. Ubuntu. I'll save that. And for this, we just have to put a different background. We'll go to this. We go to. We might change the color scheme, make a new color scheme. For this, we'll go here to our background path, browse, and we'll put our this art right here. Also, same way, created the same way using using ChatGPT to generate an image, and then going to Adobe Firefly to have image to video, and taking that video to Photoshop and converting it to a GIF. So now we X out of this, we go here, we do X Ubuntu, and we can see our new setup, and it's working just fine. We could have one there with our nice thing, and then this one into this one. So this way I can very easily have two open, and I can have one in my I have one here, one there, but mainly, you know, when you're working and there's a bunch of there's a bunch of text on the screen that you can't really tell, you can hover over and you can easily see, oh, well, these are two different backgrounds. This is my front end one, this is my back end one. You could easily see where you're starting and doing stuff while you're debbing. So hope you guys enjoy. And then with this, usually on this one, I would create a whole new theme, a whole new color palette that will fit this specific background, but I don't want to make you guys go through that. So I think this is good enough for a good place to leave off, you know. I hope you guys like it. Honestly, it's been a while since I made videos, and I want to start making more. So yeah. Oh, on this one more thing. Usually, just cause I like to do this, I do retro fun, and yeah, there you go. So you can see how it even like brightens up your image a lot. So yeah, very easy to see the difference between these two terminals, and you can go in and change your color scheme to something else, like 1/2 or whatever, and you can have two very different shells, same, you know, two very different profiles, and still like know what you're doing just by a cursory glance. All right, you guys, I know I'm not the best at that outros. I'm tired. I'm getting out of here. I hope my videos didn't turn out really bad. Peace.